Are you tired of feeling sick or feeling stuck rather, or unsure in your love life? Have you been searching for answers on how to improve your relationship but haven't found anything that works? Whether you're struggling with attracting the wrong partners or feeling unsure about investing more in your current relationships or simply seeking to strengthen your connection with your partner, Uncomplicated Love is the definitive resource to help you move forward with confidence. The book Uncomplicated Love by Shelley Lewin is your ultimate guide to navigating the complex landscape of love and building a thriving partnership with your significant other. Well, Shelley is on Zoom with us to unpack this book for us. Good morning, Shelley. A warm welcome to Morning Live. I mean, why are you called the relationship architect? What's the relevance?
Good morning, Level. Thank you for having me. So the relevance, 20 years ago when I was looking for a brand name for myself, and I have a background in applied psychology, in counseling and coaching, and I was thinking, well, maybe I should be the relationship doctor. And I thought, no, I actually really don't believe that I'm there to fix or to solve problems of brokenness. That really I see myself and my role as facilitating and helping people to find creative solutions, and it's a process of building and creating and generating and renovating their relationships rather than fixing something that's broken. So it's a creative process, and that's why I thought it's the idea of the architect was perfect, because I'm going to be helping people build solid foundations.
I like the title of the book. Well, let's talk about the inspiration behind it. I like the fact that you say it's uncomplicated love. Do you find that so many times we complicate it?
100%. So, you know, the title of the book and the whole book is inspired by, well, there's two aspects of my life. So the first is the professional experience, which I've shared a little bit about. But actually, my career was born from my wounds. So 25 plus years ago, I had many complicated relationships, complicated, unfulfilling, unsatisfying. And I just actually didn't understand what I was doing wrong, but I had this insatiable need to understand and to figure things out. So I actually embarked on a journey of study, which evolved into my career to understand relationships. So what has happened now is that I have combined my personal experience, which is also now a 20-year marriage, with my 2 decades of experience, professional experience. And I've written this book, Uncomplicated Love, so that other people can also figure out how they can build thriving relationships for themselves.
What are some of the themes that you explore in this book?
So there's a couple of themes, but I think the first predominant and the first section of the book is really around the theory that love is an art, a science, and a practice. So when I refer to the art of love, I'm referring to compatibility and the power and importance of compatibility between two people. So there's a whole section which is around the art of compatibility, and I call it the art of people pairing. Then we've got the science, and the science of love refers to the science of attachment styles. And the reason that is so crucial is that the science of intimacy, this links to the science of intimacy and the way in which we form relationships when we're a child. We will either define relationships as intimate relationships as something that's safe, where we feel good, or we have an unconscious programming that relationships are actually something to be avoided and we're always trying to escape them and to have freedom from them. So it explores the science of love and the science of intimacy. And then the last piece is around the practices of love, and that's referring to the practices of partnership and partnering ability. And so those are some of the core themes. And then the second main part of the book is around the quote by Rumi, which is, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And I've identified 15 invisible barriers that we have, maybe some more than others. And so it's around identifying and overcoming these invisible barriers to love that you don't even know that you have.
I'm interested in that. I mean, what are some of those barriers?
So the barriers all linked to what I spoke about, the arts, the science, or the practice. So one of the first barriers, for example, is unrealistic expectations and having unhealthy, unconscious beliefs about relationships and love. So if, for example, you have an attachment style, which I mentioned earlier is around the science of love. If you have an attachment style, which is an anxious attachment style, or an insecure, it's called insecure, which is anxious or avoidant attachment style. If you have an anxious attachment style, you'll be very needy in relationships. When you are in a relationship, you permanently need to be reassured because you feel unsafe. So you're quite clingy. So you can get involved in very enmeshed relationships, codependent relationships, because you feel unsafe. You need your partner to be permanently reaffirming and reassuring you that you're lovable and you're amazing and you're great. And if you don't, you feel very anxious. And that can cause trouble in relationships. And you don't even realize that you have that pattern of behavior. Or you could be avoidant, which is that you find you get suffocated in relationships. You feel you need independence and you're always sort of trying to, you sort of push out and pull back. And so you reel your partner in and then you reel your partner out. So you're permanently trying to create freedom for yourself and you dip your toe into intimacy. So that creates its own set of unhealthy beliefs and expectations about love and relationships. And that's linked to the science of intimacy. So that's one of the barriers. So it's around identifying what is your attachment style so that you can then change your expectations and your beliefs about relationships, because you will always get what you expect. So if you expect your relationship to be difficult, and they always have been, and my parents' relationships are difficult, and relationships aren't easy, they're painful, well, that's what you'll create for yourself. So it's around really, so there are some self-reflective questions at the end of every barrier to ask you to think through and to take some time to really explore whether or not that is a barrier that you are struggling with.
I want to touch a little bit on the writing process and how much it challenged you when you had to put this book together.
So the book is weaved my personal experiences. So I'm very honest about the fact that I was terrible in relationships. So as I said, 25 years ago, I didn't know what I was doing, and I embarked on this journey. And I got my fiance at the time left me, and that was a very tragic experience for me. And I was devastated, and so I spent almost like 20 years. So, trying to atone for my awful behavior and to figure out I don't want to have those kinds of relationships. So I had to revisit that when I wrote, because I share my personal journey in the book and how I have where it all started. So, the moment when my fiance left and how that all came about. And there were parts of it that it was challenging because I didn't know how much of that must I share. This isn't only me. I'm also sharing someone else's life experience. And, maybe the private don't necessarily want their life all revealed, in a book. So because there was the personal piece, that was challenging to do. And then professionally, I wrote the book on weekends and holidays. So it has taken, and so time was the biggest challenge, just trying to get the time to write. And I had so much that I wanted to say. And it actually ended up that I overwrote. So I could have written, so the book is, just to give you some idea, most books are between 60 and 90,000 words. And I stopped at 105,000. And I was like, the editor said to me, can you please stop writing? I had so much that I wanted to share. So maybe there is a part two. But then we had to cut back and I had to redo and rewrite and edit. So the book got reduced back down.
All right, Shelley Lewin, unfortunately we've run out of time, but thank you so much for talking to us this morning. She was talking to us about her book, Uncomplicated Love, which she describes as the ultimate guide to navigating the complex landscape of love.